Over to the Financial Review, and Afterpay is working on plans to add Westpac mortgages and other loans to its product range next year as the Buy Now, Pay Later pioneer expands into savings products with the launch of its new Money app to its 3.6 million Australian customers. Claire, what do you make of this? I feel like Afterpay, crypto, creeping into CommBank, things like that. I mean, are the banks getting trendy, or are they just going to where they think that the money actually is and what customers want?
Yeah, I think they're following the market. I mean, I am I don't know if this is financially responsible to say so, but I am of an Afterpay generation. I don't have a credit card, but I do buy things on those buy now, pay later platforms because in a sense they are a very simplified, manageable version of a credit card where you kind of know what you're signing up for in a really managed way. It's a reverse lay-by almost. You get the product first and then you pay later. So if there's a company like Afterpay that thinks that they can reinvent the wheel when it comes to savings accounts, I'd probably put my money on the fact that they'll achieve it, and that's probably why Westpac have jumped straight on board to sort of ride on their coattails.
How on earth do you think that this will work with mortgages, considering that we're seeing that first home buyers, because this is probably who they're going to market it towards, it's going to take us 15 years to save for a deposit. Do we just afterpay our deposit? How will that even work? I mean, I'm fascinated to learn more, but I'd love to hear your take on it.
Yeah, oh, look, honestly, I don't know, but as someone who is not in the housing market, I would appreciate a kind of one-stop shop. You know, I think if Afterpay can come up with an app that brings in all of the information that you can have about all of the various incentives that first home buyers can get, ways to reach a deposit, what you might need to meet, you know, your payments, if you kind of had that up front from the start in a more sort of user-friendly app than, you know, having to have a complicated conversation with a bank manager, then that might actually be the way to go.
Indeed, I hear you. Also on the Financial Review tomorrow, China lays a path for historic Xi third term. A historic meeting of China's top Communist Party officials will this week reinforce President Xi Jinping's position as the country's most powerful leader since Mao. With the release of a new doctrine setting him up for a third 5-year term, the party Central Committee, comprising of 300 top officials, is meeting behind closed doors in Beijing until Thursday, when it's expected to produce a historical resolution praising Mr Xi's achievements and examining the ruling body's history. This is so interesting, considering we've heard over here over the weekend that WA Premier Mark McGowan is considering heading to China. Will be his first port of call to repair relations following COVID. What do you make of this third term of Xi Jinping?
Well, as an aside, the hubris of Mark McGowan already planning his next international trip while the rest of his constituents have no such luck. I find that a bit astonishing. No. But on the issue of China and this story in The Australian in particular, I find this is a beautiful story to anyone that reads this tomorrow. The way it's written by journalist Will Glasgow and the contrast between was quite an interesting phenomenon with a Chinese gaming team winning a really big gaming competition online, and all these young, you know, people celebrating in the streets, one running down the street in underwear. You know, contrast to this very formal, officious meeting to basically anoint Xi for another term. You know, putting him one step closer to this goal of effectively being leader for life. You know, I think it's really concerning, but also fascinating that you have this contrast of the younger sort of generation, that growing middle class of China, expressing themselves in this kind of way that's quite westernized, at the same time as the people that oversee them are looking to consolidate their power in a way that, you know, honestly, I don't know how long that can really last in the 21st century.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting, like you say, that growing middle class where they are becoming more westernised and gaming is becoming so prolific. And to game efficiently, I guess you need international access to the web. So it's going to be really fascinating. I think you're so right on that.